Cheers all. Black coffee. Wow. Good morning all. It's been a while. I think I've forgotten how to do everything. Nothing's working this morning. It's frustrating, but hi. Oh no, digital things is doing accounts. Terrible. No, forget it. Get a bookkeeper. That's what I do. I don't particularly like black coffee, but I'm trying to teach myself to drink black coffee because I've been drinking too much milk. So, yeah. Not that you all needed to know that. Anyway, hi. So, I wasn't even going to stream today, and it would have been 3 weeks of no streaming, and I was scared that I would just never ever get back to streaming. For those that aren't aware, Yaz fractured her foot pretty badly. She's out of action for a long time. I've been doing school drop off and pick up and other stuff. So, but this morning she's organised to get Flynn to school so I could stream, which was really nice of her. So I'm streaming, and I've managed to break everything that I wanted to show you. Yeah. And my Wi-Fi is going up and down, like I don't know why. So you'll see my logo might disconnect, might restart, might just crash, I don't know. I've got some weird things happening on my machine where sometimes I can flash things, sometimes I can't. It is a large black coffee, so we'll see on climbing the wall soon. Well, it's actually not. It's the same amount of coffee I normally drink. I've just added water, because otherwise it just would have been a tiny little cup. So that would have been gone in minutes. That's what I like about a milk coffee. Not just the milky creaminess, but it gives me a large drink. You have to break it to make it better. No, this is not me breaking it to make it better. This is me breaking it because I'm breaking it. Yeah. Thanks, Andy. Thanks. She's not happy. She's yeah, not enjoying her time with a moon boot permanently on her foot. The only time she's allowed to take it off is in the shower. She has to sleep in it. It's got to be on all the time, and for like 8 weeks, 8 to 10 weeks, something like that. And she's not allowed to walk on it at all for like 3 to 4 weeks. So it happened Saturday a week ago. So it's 1.5 weeks since it happened. Oh, Johnny became a grand uncle. Yay. Congratulations, Johnny. So yeah, it's frustrating for her. Good to know you're pacing the cafe. Oh, I didn't say I was pacing it. Like I am. So anyway, it's not so much, as I said, it's not the caffeine for me. It's just too much milk. Alice didn't try to amputate her thumbs with a dirty... No, she didn't. That's true. How is your thumbs? Yeah, but she didn't try to break her foot. It just happened, so... Okay. Wow. Let's say hi to folks in the chat. We'll do that first. Before it fills up too much. If it fills up too much. I can't even get to my... What's going on here? Wow. I've honestly forgotten how to do this. Okay, so, Christian, good morning. Alan, hello, got here early. Mr. England, yay, he's printed his Bling cases. Did you grab the latest version? Which version did you print from? I updated it once or twice. Did you do it off the step or off the STLs? Deadpool Jones, hello. Andy Callaway, hello. Embedded Hobbyist, hi. Did you cool things? Hi. Tax, accounting, paperwork, terrible. I hate it. David Esser, Wave. Rota, hello Rota. How you doing? Antonio, hi. Johnny, Uncle Johnny is here. Beata, hello. Did I say hi to Adam? Adam? Hi Adam. I think I might have skipped you, Adam. I'm sorry. I can't remember now. It was like 3 seconds ago. It's already gone into my brain. Ray, hello. Rat Madness, hi. Okay, I've lost a thing. Michael, good morning, Michael. I got some fun shenanigans for you this morning. Yay, external flash. Life in Cycling, hello. Mr. Agony, hello. Marlos to Liquid, hi. BFITZ58. Don't know, I'm not even going to try. Dishipu, hello Dishipu. How you doing? Okay, I think, who said chocolate? Wait, why are we talking about chocolate? No! I have 2 electronics and 1 chocolate advent calendar. No! Don't talk about chocolate. Chocolate is my bane. Okay, anyway. Befits 58. There you go. I don't know if that's right or wrong. Whatever. So, in case you're living under a rock, I released Bling. Yay! Finally. Hello, PJ. I'm hoping Advent Calendar is 2 subs a day. You got 37.
Hell 9000 says I have a chocolate Advent Calendar.
I saw. I don't understand this whole Advent Calendar thing, but I don't celebrate Christmas, so there you go. Oh, Andy, don't do that. That's teasing. One day someone will invent a way to merge cheese and chocolate. I'd try that. Yep. I'd try that, for sure. Even if it was merged badly. I'd try it. I'd try anything with chocolate. Okay, so I released Bling. Oh my god, that was a long time coming.
Super chat!
Steve Bling! Thanks, Steven. Yes, Bling. Woo! Yeah, there is it looks like the latency is pretty big. I don't know why. As I said, I don't know what is going on. I don't know whether it's internal networking, external, or whatever, but even my camera view is delayed looking through my DSLR, which we'll get to shortly. YouTube is fighting ad blockers. YouTube is fighting Xeon. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm all over the shop at the moment. I don't have to tell you what Bling is. Anyway, yesterday I released. So I released all the shipping Blings have that they ship with the FFT demo on it. Pop, 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 pop. Anyway, and I've got that project in GitHub, the Arduino project, but I also released a new project yesterday. I'm going to just unplug this for the moment. Which I think is pretty cool. It was actually a lot of fun to make, kind of. We won't go into the way, especially for throttling Wi-Fi on in Arduino at the moment, which really sucks, but I never get onto Wi-Fi. So I've made it's a clock, oh, big deal, but it is a
7:10 a.m.
It's a talking clock, and it every hour, or you can turn it off, but every hour it'll talk the time. So it'll say 7 o'clock a.m. or 12 o'clock p.m. or whatever, And then there's got a whole lot of other functionality in there. Like you got a full, if I hold that bottom button down, you got a full settings system. I'll go to settings, seconds, and we can do seconds on. I can hold that again and saving, and now we've got in seconds mode, and you can also cycle through different colors, and you got volume, brightness, volume level, and all sorts of stuff. Anyway, so that code is also in GitHub now as well. It's a talking clock. So yeah, I thought I'd just show you that as well. Okay, what else? Imperial time. Why you no beat time? What? Hey AJ, what? Is that late? Why is the latency so high? Stream settings. I'm on ultra low latency. There's obviously something going on. I don't know whether it's me or whatever. Okay, well we'll do our best with a low latency, with a high latency. Sorry everyone. Oh, the beat time, is that what the that's what people were playing with? I don't even know what that is. I didn't even understand it. Okay, so right at the moment my TinyWatch doesn't boot. None of my TinyWatches boot. Yay! But I know why. Well, but I don't know how to fix it. I've been trying to fix it. I don't know why. Anyway, so I mean, I guess that's why everyone's here, right? No one cares about Bling. Even though swatch time 1,000 units equals 1 day. Yeah, you don't have to explain it to me because it's in my ear out the other. It's going to be gone. I can't retain it at the moment. Oh, now would be a good time to insert ads, says YouTube. Bang, big window right on top of all my other windows. No, thank you. Yeah, I'm out of practice. I can't do this. So, for those that caught it yesterday on Twitter, or I guess you would have seen it on the thumbnail of the stream, I have my new TinyWatch panels. Yay. Out of Kit Kats. Stop talking about chocolate. No. No. Anyway, so we have, it probably won't boot. Will this one boot? This one might boot. I don't know if this one will boot. Oh, that one booted. Anyway, it's upside down. So we have a TinyWatch. Oh, I should just change. Let me change views. Here we go. You can all have a look at the thing. So we have a TinyWATCH PCB. So there was a bit of drama with this. So I got my first panels ages ago. Really excited, and I built one. I built just a board on a panel, and then I made some other ones that I was going to do the RF matching on, and plugged it in, and it 5 volts lit up, and then I went to turn the power button on, and it was shorted to ground, and it wouldn't turn on. And it turns out that all of the panels I got from JLC were all shorted between layer 2 and layer 3. Yeah. So I've got a whole pile of panels here that are a whole lot of panels that are coffee coasters. These are coffee coasters. They're all shorted between layers 2 and 3 due to it wasn't a manufacturing defect, it was they incorrectly created some of my holes between my layers, and they missed some mast area around the holes, and when they drilled them, they shorted them. Anyway, so look, surprisingly, let me just go back to here. Surprisingly, it wasn't a 3-week drama getting them to sort it out. They worked out within like 3 days that there was a problem on their side, and so they agreed to remake them. So they remade them, and I finally got them 2 days ago, my new ones. These are not the new ones. You can't really tell the difference between these ones and the new ones, except for these were shorted. Cast them in resin and sell them as actual coasters. Well, I could do that if I had a way to cast them in resin, if I had any resin, if I had any time. So I got my new boards, and I got them on Monday, but I couldn't test them on Monday because I was manufacturing Bling. I was manufacturing my second batch of Bling because I sold out my first batch of Bling in less than 24 hours, which is pretty cool. So yesterday I decided, hey, cable tie. Yesterday I decided to run a panel, which I did. I did the same thing again. I checked there were no shorts first, right, on the boards. And so I ran a panel, and so I did 3 boards that were set up for RF. One of them goes down here. They've all got various things, like it's got an antenna on it, and some other stuff, whatever. They're for my RF matching. And the first board on the panel was a fully populated board. So I did it, and I got it, and I beeped it, and it was fine, and I plugged it in, and it powered up, and then I turned on the 3.3 volts, and it didn't work. It didn't enumerate, and I'm going, oh my god, what have they done now? And so I stuck the multimeter on there, and I was only getting 3.3. I was only getting 3 volts from the LDO. I was only getting 3.3 volts from the load switch, which should give me 5 volts if there's USB plugged in. And just at that point, cable tie walks in. I knew he was coming. Dave walks in, and I'm just like having a mini freak out, like, oh my god, what's happened now? What have they done now? Hey, Steve. And anyway, turns out I put a diode on back to front. My fault, because I haven't really run them on the pick and place, like on the production line yet. Like they were pick and placed on the machine, on the Juki. I haven't run them. Oh my god, Alan, stop posting pictures of Ritter coconut chocolate on the live stream channel on Discord. Everyone's just, what are you doing to me? I'm gonna have to go out. Can someone bring me chocolate? Hey, Jonathan. Also, if I've missed anyone who's popped into chat, I apologize. Anyway, I put a diode on back to front. I turned the diode around, fixed it, it boots, it works. Yay. So, what does that mean? It means that once I get around to matching these boards, and just tweaking that, I will be able to, assuming I have the components I need for the match in stock, I'll be able to run some TinyWATCH boards. We'll talk later about what's going to happen, what my plans are going forward with that, how that's all going to work. I'm still kind of working around it. Hey, Peter. Peter's lurking. No problem. You're allowed to lurk. Anyway, I told you I'm out of practice. So, the good news is, let's just go back to the TinyWATCH board. It's even telling the right time. Amazing. Excuse me. Taku, hello. Only a little late, that's okay. All good, me too. So far, I've validated everything on the board, which is great. Everything is actually, surprisingly, working. Let me just unplug that. Plug this in. We won't even talk about the state of the firmware, although we'll get to that. I've made some progress, but it's far from ready. Let's see if this boots. Yeah, so I've damaged the... I was doing something rather silly this morning at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I damaged the... You might be able to see the chip here. It's not sitting right. I damaged the chip on this screen trying to jam the screen into a new faceplate I made. And I was so focused on getting the PCB aligned that I might have damaged the screen. Whoops. So this screen doesn't have touch anymore. And you will see here that it says, when it boots, hello, I2C error. That is the second I2C bus talking to that chip. So I have no touch on this screen anymore, which sucks. I can put another screen on I just don't have one out at the moment. Were you doing further on Bling boards? Probably have to wait till next month to buy. Yeah, sure. I've got the second batch already came out, Steve. And although I shipped more than half of them yesterday, so I finished the batch Tuesday morning, and most of them were sold already by Tuesday afternoon. But I've got stock, and I've got plenty more PCBs and LEDs, and actually, how many have I got left? I've got a batch here. They've got to go in bags. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think I've got 9 in stock at the moment, and I'll have more. Is it 13? Oh, I released some more last night. That would be those 9. 9. Right, so I only had 5 left. No, I can't count. I only had 4 left. Right. So I've released these, but I haven't put them in bags yet. I've got to print labels. Anyway, the point is yes. And then I'll be making more. Yes. Hopefully I won't ever be out of stock of them. So, yeah. They're not fun to make. I gotta say. Why I chose to build double-sided boards that can't be reworked, I don't know. Yours have shipped. They shipped yesterday, Johnny. Yeah, sorry. Where was I? I've lost train of thought. Anyway, so everything on this board works. Even, you can see here, the... can I make this bigger for you? There you go. Look, it's even found the magnetometer now. So it's got the max chip, the IMU, magnetometer, RTC, but unfortunately, yeah, on this one I killed the touch, which, whoops. So, but the board works, and even the flash works. So, but it works, but it doesn't. The chip works, my code doesn't. So, I actually thought I was going to have to rip the flash off because I thought that there was an incompatibility. Hey, Ian. Incompatibility with the screen. They're on the same SPI bus. There is no I/O left at all to do a second SPI bus. And so I thought that there was an issue, but it turns out that it's just the way the flash chip library works. There's a little tiny flash chip right here for storing settings and stuff for persistent data. So anyway, I'm going to unplug this, but the good news is it all works. The speaker works, the little buzzer. It's not as loud as the other one because I had to go for a smaller buzzer just behind there. I've got new batteries coming. I've ordered just 10. I don't think I'm going to be shipping these with batteries, just letting everyone know, because it's not legal for me to ship batteries here. The laws are pretty weird. If the battery is physically connected, not with a connector, if it's removable, it doesn't count. If it's physically like soldered to the board and it's shipped inside a product like a watch, something that's fully enclosed that can be opened but isn't shipped open, then I can ship a LiPo battery. But if it's something that's user removable or it's not shipped in as an end product in an enclosed case, I'm not allowed to ship a battery. But anyway, I found some batteries that are 400 milliamp hour, and I did actually redesign, although it's not finished. I've been redesigning the case. I've been trying to redesign the case to be able to fit a bigger battery inside and not make the case. The case is actually slightly smaller than my original case. You can't really tell from that angle. It's slightly smaller. It's a tiny little bit longer, but it's narrower and it's not quite as high. And I should have enough room in there to stick the battery. If you use a security screw, you can ship it. If it's a regular screw, you can't. Interesting. Well, either way, I mean, I can't ship it because I'm not going to be shipping these things in a case. There's nothing to screw. Hey, Ryan. So anyway, I've got batteries coming. I actually got them to put the connectors on for me. The PH connector, that's not PH, the microblade, the 1.25 millimeter connector, and to also shorten the cable length, so it's not such a long cable. But the connector really it's bulky and it's kind of in the way. but I should be able to fit it all in there. My other option is I could actually just not populate that and solder batteries directly to the board, but I don't want to be doing that. And anyway, the point is, I don't know what the point is. Everything on here is working, firmware aside, and so there's really no reason at the moment I can't start making these boards, other than I need to do whatever the match is, and I have to be 100% sure that I have a rough case that everything works in. I'd like to know that before I ship them, although maybe someone else can design a case. That'd be good. So very soon, very, very soon. I'm still not convinced on the buttons. I have to say, these little tiny buttons make it very hard to build little actuator things on the case to be able to press the buttons, like I've got in here. They do work, but they're just a little fiddly, and I don't know. But I can't find a button that's bigger than that, but that isn't massive. And so, yeah, I'm not buying an SLA printer. They're too messy, too stinky. Just another thing. I'd rather buy a mill and mill my own cases than SLA print them. But that's another massive learning curve as well. Hey, Alan. I don't even want to get into the whole discussion with customs and with the shipping companies about batteries and whatever for now, anyway. So when the batteries come, I'll show you what they are. What I might organise to do is, if they work okay, is to get the guy that I bought them from AliExpress, but from a place that just do batteries. I might get him to list that specific battery on there for other people to buy directly, because it's a modified version. He doesn't, like I had to convince him to take a battery that he sold and put the connector on and shorten the wires and whatever. Although I forgot to get him to flip the wires on the connector, which is a problem. It's going to come and I'm going to have to manually change them like I have to do on these ones. So I have been doing, Alan's going to be quite happy, not Alan K, Alan Madston. I've been doing quite a bit of work on optimization for battery. I need to show you what I've done. It's pretty cool. There's virtually nothing has changed on the watch on the outside of it in terms of what you're about to see, but under the hood, oh, it's so different. So different. I'm going to pull that other one away. This one won't boot though. I need to, I have a weird thing. Where am I going? Is it going to have a hood? A what? A hood. What is a hood? Hey Michael, if you're there, I was going to actually I can just reboot it. I'll just hit the reset button. Check this out. And I don't know when this happened. Is that plugged in? Oh, it might be off. Did I turn it off? Oh, here we go. So when it's reading the data in, it thinks it's only got 128. The length's 124, and so it's not reading the whole. Michael will understand what this is. I'll get into it with everyone else in a moment, but Michael will know what this is. It's so it's not pulling in the whole string, so it can't deserialize it, so it's crashing, and so it's creating the new string. And the new string is 253 in length, and it's writing, but it's failing to write the whole length of the string. So maybe there's a data block thing. Hey, Yumbo Prime. Anyway, and so because it's failing to write it, when it tries, it's only writing a small amount. It's reading it back and it can't deserialize it, and it gets stuck in a loop. How you doing, Jay? Sometimes you seem to be quite dyslexic with regards to connections, e.g. battery. Sorry, sometimes I seem to be dyslexic with regards to connections. What does that mean? reverse the... I haven't reversed... What? I don't understand what you're talking about. This is not a me thing. This is the battery guy thing. I haven't reversed any wires. Huh? Okay, whatever. Have you considered rotating the battery socket 180 so the cable bends from the socket? Well, it's not to the actual battery smoother because the battery isn't necessarily going in that direction. I don't know how the battery's going. Didn't you just say it? Yeah, I haven't got the polarity wrong on my connector. Well, there is no standard on the polarity of battery. Like, you can put the positive on any pin you want to put the pin in, right? But I have a standard way on every single one of my boards, which is the same standard way that Adafruit and SparkFun and who knows whatever else do with their batteries. It just so happens that the batteries that come from this guy that I've got so far, they have plus and minus on the other pins. Like, that's not a big deal, whatever. It's not a dyslexic thing on my behalf. It's there's no standard in the world. Yes, but I forgot to ask him to flip the wires when I asked him to customize the length and put a connector on. That's all I'm saying. Big deal. I just got 10 batteries coming. This is not a... No. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so to explain what's happening here, sorry everyone. So there's onboard flash. There's a second flash chip on here. It's just like, it's a 1 megabyte flash chip. It's just designed for persistent storage, right? And the library, the SPI flash library I'm using, it's very hard to find a library in Arduino / Platform IO for flash that is designed to not be talking to the main flash chip, but to talk to a second. They're all designed to be talking to the internal flash chip, right? Hey Mitchell. So I found a library that is designed to talk to whatever chip, that doesn't just assume it's the internal chip, but it's really weird the way it works. And so when you write a string to the flash chip, which is what I'm doing here, the very first value that it writes is the length of the string, right? So rather than reading up until it finds a termination or whatever else, I don't know how flash normally works internally, whatever, it writes a value. So it says it's supposed to say write 253 on that address, and then it knows that when you tell it to read the string, it gets back 253 characters. So for some reason it's not storing. It was last night. I had it working perfectly last night, right? But for some reason it's not storing the string now properly, and it's telling it that it's only 124 in length. So when it loads it back, it only loads 124 characters, which is not the entire JSON string, so it won't deserialize it. Right? That's what's happening. And that all happens before it shows the first thing on the screen, and it crashes out. It's very temperamental, this library. So I'm going to comment that line out now, but it's interesting that it tries to write it, and it fails the write, but it puts stuff there, but it only puts 124. But the first value is a uint 32, so it can take a really large value. So it's not a... So it might be something... Maybe it's like a block-based or paging thing or whatever else. Anyway. It should have written 253 in that spot. And it should have written all of that data. But it's not, as you can see here. But it was working yesterday, no problem. Anyway, I don't know what it is. It doesn't matter. But it was bizarre because I was plugging them in, I was flashing them, and nothing would come up on the screen, and I couldn't work it out. And it sent me into a loop trying to... I'm just going to tell it not to load the settings. And now we'll reflash it and everything will be fine for the moment. No, because it is an unsigned... It's an unsigned value that it should be writing. No, there's nothing wrong with the string. There's no non-Unicode or anything in the string or anything. I don't know. I'm not trying to debug it now. I only just worked out what it was about 10 minutes before the stream started. I was just trying to work out why it wasn't... Nothing was coming up on the screen. Like I was getting logs, but I was getting nothing on the screen. It turns out that it was crashing. But it wasn't crashing in the load. It was crashing in the save. It was failing the save and wasn't coming back. Sure, all that stuff happens in their library. I'm not going to dig through their library now, right? Their library works. Like I've had it reading and writing strings before, and as I said, it was working yesterday. I don't know what changed. It's okay. But we're going to move on from the flash stuff. Cool. So it looks kind of the same. I've been working on a new watch face, a new analog watch face. But everything else on here right now is the same, right? Everything that we had before, right? You can scroll this list, you can go back, IMU works. Oops, I've still got the settings there, which does nothing yet, and so the camera changes because of the brightness. TinyWATCH boot screen, right? Everything looks the same. Where's the second hand? What? Where's the seconds hand? You see the little dot going around? There's the seconds hand. Right, so it looks smoother to scroll. Right, so under the hood, everything has been completely rewritten from scratch. Like, what a 3 days of... Yeah, it's just the camera. I can't do much about it. Because for some reason, and I've been through every setting on this camera, for some reason, see how it's adjusting the, it's not a white balance, it's an auto exposure, but the exposure is set to, it's not set to auto on the exposure. I don't understand why it's adjusting the exposure. For some reason, the camera's doing it, even though I don't want it to. No, it's perfectly fine in the sun. Anyway, this is not about the visual fidelity, okay? This is very much not about the usability of this as a watch right now. This is just, remember, it's just framework I'm working on. A Panasonic Lumix G9. And I really don't know what the deal is with it. It could be the lens I'm using. But anyway. So what I ended up doing was, there was two things I wanted to do. I wanted to get the visuals looking like it was running smoother, but that wasn't my primary goal. The primary goal was to reduce power consumption. And it's an ornament, yeah. Not that I was focused on battery life, but I had to change a lot of the underlying framework, and so while I was doing it, I decided to see how far I could push it in terms of running on minimal power in general when it's running, right? So this is currently running, just click the light up, this is currently running at 40 megahertz, the CPU. Right? So it's a dual core 240 megahertz MCU, but it's running at 40 megahertz. And you can see that I've got on the screen, it's got different brightness things, and tap it, it'll come back up. And it does it differently whether it's on power, USB or not. You can see there it's got you might be able to see 4.22 volts up top. Let me just go to a larger. No, not measure the current draw yet, because it's not important. And you'll see why shortly. Now, what I'm doing though is, firstly, I've reconfigured the whole touch thing. You can't swipe down. Interesting. You shouldn't be able to swipe down from the bottom. I know what that is. Right. Don't. I commented out some code yesterday. Oh, I can't believe I just did that. Anyway, you can't swipe. You need to be, if you want to swipe down, you need to be near the top. And if you want to swipe up, you need to be near the bottom. What you were seeing there, that's actually the bottom face. It's this one, the IMU. It shouldn't be going this way. I commented some stuff out when I was trying to find a bug yesterday. But anyway, but here's the thing. When I touch and start dragging, it jumps to 80 megahertz. Actually, I'll be able to show you this on the screen. Hold on one second. Where did I put it? So I'm just looking for... Right. I'll make it bigger. Okay, I'll make it bigger. I'm actually showing the megahertz on the screen. Hey Steve King, what do you mean the body of the watch? Oh, this thing is 3D printed, designed by me. It's just a temporary thing to hold it. I wish I could source them, but you can't. So, okay. It's not very big. Can you see the 40? Maybe not. Let's make it super big. Let's make it super big. Yeah, I know you can see it. It's still too small. I guess it depends on how big you're viewing the whole thing.
Alan Madsen says yes, we can see it.
Okay, now you can see it. So you see it's at 40. Oh, it's got reversed thing on it, that's why. And as soon as I touch, you see that it jumps to 80. And I let go, and it goes back to 40. So as soon as I start moving, this is at 80 megahertz. Still not 240, it's running at 80. But look how smooth that is. All right? It's super responsive now. I've got an issue where if you touch it again while it's still going back into its thing, you can make it flash another screen up. Again, lots of tweaking I need to fix now because I completely rewrote this. So what I'm doing is I'm now using two different sprites. Watch the turbo button. I'm using two different canvases, and when I click and drag, you'll see the time stops changing. Oops, I touched it. The time's not changing. So what I do is I cache the screens when I'm dragging, and the screens don't update. The internals don't update. That's how I'm getting super smooth at 80. I can actually run this at 40. You can see a little bit more stuttering at 40, but it's still totally usable. At 40 megahertz, you can still easily use the watch. It's way better than my experience with the TT Go watch, even at 40 megahertz, right? And so the whole point is that at 40 megahertz, this draws way less power than at faster. Can you run it like 8M until scroll? How did I pick 20? What? 20? Sorry. It switches between 40 and 80. Now 80 is supposed to be the minimum that you can do Wi-Fi on the ESP32, but that's not true. You can do, if you're very quick, you can actually enable Wi-Fi and do some stuff and disconnect the Wi-Fi before it crashes. It will crash. At 40 megahertz, you'll get a watchdog timer crash, but if you're quick, you won't. And so when this boots, it goes into 40 megahertz mode and connects to the internet and does the whole RTC time thing, and then disconnects. And so right now it's not on Wi-Fi. There's no Wi-Fi icon on there, and it does that while it's at 40 megahertz. So what this means is the overall CPU is taking way less power than it normally would. Now, this has got multiple levels of dimming. If I take this off here, it's now in battery mode. You can see that it changes color, and it'll start cycling the icon will go up and, it'll go down as it depletes, right? And again, I'm at 40, if I hit 80, super smooth on the battery, there's no difference. But you'll see my dimming happens quite fast when I'm on battery, as you'll see in a moment. And if you touch the screen, it'll dim, it'll come back up again, right? Otherwise it'll dim down, and then it'll dim down, it'll go through 2 dimmings, and then it'll go to sleep. It'll go to deep sleep. Let's see if it does it. There you go, that's the first level dim. It can't run at 2 megahertz, Chris. No. I couldn't get it to reliably run even 20 megahertz. But anyway, that's fine. So waiting for this to go down. Again. It was from 4.2, 4 points, whatever. That's the charging current versus the battery voltage. The faces only draw when they're visible, when it's the current face. And so this one here only updates every second. There's nothing changes on the watch other than that. Hang on, I might have disabled the deep sleep code. Let me just find out. That'll be annoying if I did, because we're sitting here waiting for nothing. Let me just check. I disabled it. See that? And false. Okay, hang on. Let's go back. I need to reflash it. Let's get rid of this. Sorry about that. I've been playing with lots of different things. Anyway, so when it goes into deep sleep, you wake it by pressing this button on the side. You can't wake it by touch, unfortunately, because when it's in deep sleep, you can't communicate with the touch device. Maybe in the future, someone might want to write some ULP code that'll talk bitbang I2C to the touch interface to do that. But okay, so unplug this again. the touch interrupt is the touch interrupt is turned off, kind of, because I had to rewrite the whole. Well, there you go. So that dimmed. It goes down quite quickly. As you can see, it's now in deep sleep, right? And so I can just push this button here, and when it wakes up, I hope it wakes up. See that? It wakes up and goes straight to the clock. Although the settings file isn't loading, so it's not remembering that I was on that screen, right? But it misses the whole boot thing.
Cab Letty says, so it's official, you're an unexpected watchmaker.
Maybe not. Adam, what was that? Did you answer a question about the hand positions as I got caught? What hand? I didn't see the question. So anyway, the point is, you can see it dims quite quickly. And it goes into sleep. The wake up is very quick, and it skips the whole boot process. It knows that it's waking from deep sleep. And so, I mean, that's pretty quick, right? Wake up again, it's back here. Now, but I want to show you something else though. I don't know how I'm going to do this. So you know when you're looking at your watch, I'm going to let that go. I need to go to here. So something I added yesterday. So like when I'm looking at my watch, so the Apple Watch does this, right? So when I'm looking at the watch, when it thinks I'm looking at it, it shows the seconds. You know, I might not be able to see. But when I don't, it shuts down, like it doesn't update the screen as often, right? They use machine learning and all that stuff to work all that. I don't have that, really. Just hold on, Adam. But what I added yesterday was, if I just go back to here, so I'll turn it back on again. I'll let it go to the first level. Hello, there. If I put it on an angle that left hand, do you see that? It woke up again. So I've got some, now right now it shuts down very quickly. They're just values, right? They can be changed, they can be in the settings file, right? But I've set up, if you're wearing it on your left hand, I've set up the IMU that it will, see that? It wakes it up again. It resets all the dimming. So unfortunately that doesn't work once it's in deep sleep. But I thought that was pretty cool. Just using pitch and roll. It's not machine learning, but anyway, it's better than nothing. But as I continue to optimize, the time it can be running before it goes to deep sleep can be increased, right? And obviously a bigger battery will help. And you know, how long all this can last for and stuff, I don't know, I haven't measured yet. Yeah. Okay, so Adam's asking, I mean, the position of the clock hands, not hands. Well, yeah, it's using, of course it's using trig. It caches it the first time it displays, and then it reads it out of it pulls the data out of a cache. Right, but updating every minute instead of going to updating every second, that's not the power draw. The cost of updating the screen is negligent. The cost of having the screen displayed and the ESP32 running, that's the expensive part, not updating the screen. So that really won't make that. This is only a 200, they say this is a 250 milliamp hour battery, but there's no way. It's more like 200 to 180. It's a pretty small battery. So I'm just looking back on the chat. Did I miss anything else? So there is an interrupt on the touch. I need to remember what I connected that to. Hold on. Maybe I connected that. Maybe I can use that. Okay, let me see. I need to open up KiCad. touch int is 11. 11. So I don't want to do a hold. I don't want to do a hold on it. And does it go high or low? I'm just checking the interrupt. Falling, so it's when it goes low. Okay, so I mean, this will be good if it works and I don't have to worry about it. Okay, so when I wake, so I don't want to do deep sleep hold. And when I go to sleep, okay, let's see if that works. Well, it does wake on a, well, no, you can't wake on an intro, yeah, anyway. What do you mean am I using C++ features? This is C++. What do you mean? Sorry. You don't wake on an interrupt. You can wake on a change of an IO. Like it won't, it's C++ code. It's the change of the IO that wakes it, not the interrupt in this case. So if I unplug this, let's see what happens. Okay. Well, there you go. Touch to wake. Cool. Touch to wake. There you go. Don't have to do it on the button anymore, I think. We'll try that again. If that's the case, that's even better. I was leaving that for a future Xeon to worry about. Let's watch it do it again. Dimming. Yeah, that was easy. Luckily, the interrupt, the IR I used for the interrupt was in the RTC interrupt range and not outside it. That would have been bad. Okay, so that has gone to sleep. For sure, there is nothing. Touch. Bingo. Ah! Hey, Photochromax. I'm not using RDF. So I'm not using any, yeah, this is platform IO with Arduino core and yeah. No, this is Arduino. There's no, it's all C++. There's no C only compiler. And the project is C++, like, and it's using this object-oriented whatever all over the place, and it's C++. There is no such thing as not C++ in Arduino land. So the logo is going nuts. I don't know why. That's really cool. Okay, well that's even better than pushing a button. It's Arduino. Puke. Yeah, that's fine. So you're, people are, they can write their own firmware. I really don't care. Yeah. I'm not fussed. Oh, I just realized. Oh, that's interesting. Why did that go to sleep? Must have not been plugged in properly. Well, you're free to rewrite. You're free to write firmware in whatever you want to write firmware in, Chris. But I would say that 95% of the people that are going to want to hack on this, that are going to want to grab one, are not going to want to do it in IDF land. So they're not familiar with IDF or whatever. So yeah, it's designing this thing for a larger group of people. I wonder if this is going to go to deep sleep again, because if it is, then there's a problem with my VBus check. But I was waiting for it to see if it goes into deep sleep. It shouldn't. It should only go into deep sleep if it's running off battery. Well, you can do it in MicroPython if you want. I think Matt Trentini wants to do it in MicroPython. Yeah, switch to Python. Chris loves Python. He's the Python advocate, aren't you, Chris? Okay, so, well, that's cool. I'm happy about that. So that's wake taken care of. So the point now is the battery will last a while. I mean, okay, so the next step is I need to pull this apart, put a different cable in, and then plug my PPK2 into it to find out what the power draw is. But I'm not doing that now. Much to everyone's dismay, I'm not doing that now. So let's talk about what my deep sleep. The battery is not. Should it go into deep sleep if the battery is not charged? What do you mean? You mean if the battery's empty? So no. So when you say not charged, you mean if the battery is depleted? There is a way to tell, and no, it won't go into deep sleep. It actually turns off the power to the watch. So the watch itself has access to the power switch here. That if I push and hold this for 3 seconds, it'll turn the watch off. See that? The watch is physically off, but the battery is still charging, the fuel gauge is connected, and the RTC is still active. But everything else is off. There's no 5 volts or VBus going to past the switch rail. Okay, so it's currently off, but it's still charging. In this state like this, if I let go of this, if I take this out, this battery here lasts well over a day. I haven't tested it longer than a day. So this is currently keeping the RTC running and is keeping the fuel gauge active. Right? But everything else is off. But if I turn it on, running off battery. So the idea is, I haven't added the code yet, but the subsystem will look at the fuel gauge, and when the fuel gauge voltage hits 3.1 volts or 3 volts, it'll turn the power off. And you'll have to physically push the button to turn it back on again. Right? How you doing, Dave? Yeah, Yuz is not great. She's trying to stay in good spirits, but it's a struggle for her. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't want to live with a moon boot on 24/7. Yeah, I don't particularly like IDF. To developing an IDF. It's for the extra power you get, whatever. It's way more verbose and yeah, it's just not as user friendly. And yeah, like I don't think there's that much overhead. I mean, the overhead is negligible compared to the hunger of the chip. So yeah, look, and if it makes for more readable code and access to a bunch of libraries that you would have had to do your own coding for and stuff, I'd much prefer to be doing like I am now. Hey, Pratik. So anyway, the point is, that is cool with the touch to wake. Touch to wake, yes. So let's talk about what my plans going forward are. Are the dead canaries a skill issue or bad OS? Dead canaries? I must not understand that reference. So to be clear, I'm just building a base framework. I'm not building a product. This is not a product. I'm not shipping a watch. Okay? You will not, like, it's not happening. And so, you know, there were comments about why aren't you making it move smoothly from here to here, or why aren't you, whatever. I'm ignoring them all because it's completely irrelevant to what this is and what I'm doing. I'm building a watch development framework, right? This is a something for people that want to hack on a watch project. It is not, I'm not building an Apple Watch or competitor. I'm not building a TT Go watch that comes in a box with a band and, you know, you can stick it on your arm and use it as a watch. That's not what I'm building. You'll never get that from me, right? I doubt very, very much. Look, you never know what the future will bring, right? Never say never, but I don't have a plan to ship a watch. In this case, a coding issue. What? I don't understand what coding issue. Anyway, doesn't matter. So, like at this point of time, so my aim originally with the firmware was to build a base framework for people to extend upon. Right?
Cian, chat has disconnected.
Yes. Was to build a base framework for people to build from. But I'm thinking that I might not even go that far, because at the end of the day, people are going to want to do what they want to do, and they're going to want to do it how they want to do it. Classic example of people that don't want to be using Arduino, or some people might want to use a Python variant or whatever. And so my plan on what I'm going to add to the framework, I'm reducing the scope quite a lot. Also, because I don't necessarily have the time. And I'm not quite sure yet how collaborative work on it would really work, especially when my code base is kind of all over the place. For a watch firmware, I'd want something that did watch-like things. Yeah, no, it doesn't need that from me, Chris. So for a watch framework, as long as the hardware can do all those things, the framework, people are going to want to write their own stuff. Like, you know, I was chatting with Michael. Michael wants to, you know, kind of hack his own code on there. Like, people are going to do that. Like, I can either waste a whole lot of time putting together stuff that people aren't going to use, you know. But anyway, this is going to be an open source project. When I say going to be, it's not the usual open source project where it's out early for people to develop it, right? People, like, I'm going to be releasing the KiCad files for this, and if people want to modify the watch, they can modify the watch. I'm going to be releasing whatever my firmware is when it's at a point that it's neatened up a bit and whatever else, at whatever stage it's at, and if people want to leverage that or not, that's up to them. But I want to set the expectation of what people will be getting from me if they buy a watch, one of these tiny watches from me, right? I'm not selling a watch. I'm selling a, call it what you want, development platform, watch development platform, something to tinker with, something that people can kind of turn into whatever they want to turn into, right? I started this project, Jay, because I wanted to, I was curious to see, you know, I wanted to build a watch. Like I wanted to, I've always, you know, it's about, you know, making small PCBs, how much stuff can I pack in? I mean, to be fair, the watch, you know, where'd I put it? Like, this is not the watch I wanted to build. I know that sounds weird, hang on. Sorry, the PCB. Like, my aim for this PCB was to be much smaller, but I need it to be manufactured for people, right? Manufacturable by other people. I could have made this, oh my God, the other way. I could have made this much denser. I could have gone down in component size. Lots of stuff that I wanted to do, but I had to stop and go, the more I do, the harder it's going to be for people to leverage this, right? It's a friend you make along the way, for sure. This is not a watching experience, yeah. So I settled for, at least for this revision, on something that if people want to get them made, if people want to modify them, if someone takes this and turns it into a product, good on them, okay? As long as I know that all the hardware on here works and it works well, and it's you know, not designed with any real inadequacies, right? In terms of, oh, it'd be nice if you can do this, but the hardware doesn't allow it, right? Then in terms of the software for it, let the community work out what they want to put on it. Like it's, if this is going to be an open source project, you should not be looking at me to supply everything you need to do what you want to do. So Chris, you know, if you want all those things in there, then don't get this from me, because, or don't get one, because you're not going to get that, because it's an open source project. It's going to, the whole idea is to leverage the community, right? And if that's not something you want to contribute, do and contribute yourself, well then that's fine, but don't expect to get it from me. If I'm going to have to do all those things, then why would I release it as an open source project, right? I've mentioned this before. Yeah, it's not designed to be expanded. Like you can't, there's no ability to plug any peripherals into it or anything, no. But it doesn't need, well, I mean, well, okay. I shouldn't say it doesn't need. If someone wants to add stuff, lots of places that a smart display with minimal interface would be great. Sure. So it doesn't have to be a watch, though. It doesn't have to be like this. Well, but yeah. Well, but see, that's a totally different use case. So you don't need a watch firmware for it, then, do you? Like, if you're not using it as a watch, why do you need anything to do with watch stuff on it? Like, you could be displaying whatever data you need, and that data might not have anything to do with what other people want on a watch. There are no I/O. No I/O left on there to expose, and no, it's not something that I'll... Again, the file, the boards will be there. If someone wants to take something off it, modify it, expose some I/O so they can plug some things into it, they can do that. The files will be there. But why? What are you going to plug USB? As a watch, why would you ever plug something into it via USB? What would you plug into it via USB that you're going to walk around with something plugged in? Like what? Like, Jay, it's a watch. Like, you know, what could you possibly want to, what? Well, I don't know what a Wallabot is, red detector, but it's a watch. So how many watches have you seen those on? I mean, that seems like a very left field thing. For a GPS, there's no room on here for a GPS, and external, well, If you want to put a GPS on it, take the design, put a GPS on it. Schematics, PCB layout bomb. They will be, yes, Stephen. I'm going to be releasing it. Well, the plan is to release it as an open source project, right? But I'm getting, not just from here, just in general, I've been getting a lot of pushback from people about what they expect should be on this if I'm going to ship it. And, you know, I'm kind of getting like to a point where if that's what you want, don't expect an open source product. If you want an open source product, do the work yourself. Yeah. The USBs for charging and for flashing and for developing on it. Sure. How are you going to develop on it without connecting to it? I/O for... Get a development board, Chris. Okay, anyway. Can the USB be used for I/O? No, it's a USB. It's... what do you mean by I/O? There's no I/O going through there. Can you write some serial software at both ends that can communicate? Sure, but it's not I/O. There you go. Now, see, Steve's talking. Needs HDMI output for sure. Yeah, okay. Jay, let it go. Please let it go, right? Okay, right. I/O, not GPIO. Of course you can use a USB for that. So rather than people challenging me about all the things that this is deficient in because I don't do this and don't do that, feel free to take the files when I release them and do what you want with it, right? But please stop pushing it back on me. It's just pissing me off now. This is, you know, not the first week that this has happened. Like, just come on. Have some respect, seriously. This is my project. This is what I decided to design. This is what it is. And if it doesn't suit your purpose, don't get one. Okay? It suits my purpose. It achieves everything I wanted it to achieve. And it's as simple as that. The USB can do whatever you want it to do based on whatever you flash, whatever firmware you put on the thing. You'll have to write your own firmware to make the USB do whatever you want to do. Otherwise, the USB does nothing. Just like the screen does nothing unless you write firmware to make the screen do something, right? It's like, it's electronics, right? It's like any type, it's a development board with a whole bunch of stuff on it that looks like a watch. Okay, well, it sounds like you've got a nice project to design for yourself, Chris, because this doesn't suit you then, right? Because this won't do any of those things. Temperature, humidity are pointless on a watch that is a generic watch that isn't in a fixed case, that is not factory calibrated, where the temperature and humidity is going to be affected by the watch, right? That's why I don't do live streams. So yeah, there's just, it's fine. Normally fine, but there's just I keep explaining what my purpose is and what I'm planning for this, and then I'm still getting pushback about whatever. But yes. Anyway, yeah. Thanks, Kevin. It's stuck to 37 degrees. Oh no, I took the temperature thing off. I haven't. So I actually had some temperature stuff going, but I didn't. I had to create an API for open weather, and I didn't. I needed an API key. I didn't get one, and so then I didn't continue. So I turned it off. Add it to this device. Just people telling you what they actually would use. Okay, but why are you telling me what you would use? Like, you can, sure, like, I understand that, but it's like, yeah, okay. Design drift. No, well, I'm not doing design drift. That's the whole point. This is what I'm designing. No, I'm not exposing, I'm not putting a stemmer QT connector on there. Like, I'm not doing it, whatever. Thought you might want to know your market, but it's not my market. It's one person, Chris. It's not my market. And I don't know who my market is for this, because I don't know. But it's tinkerers, I guess, and people that want to, yeah, I don't know. We'll see, right? Yeah. You are a market of one person only, right? Like in the past, you've suggested things for some of my products that are kind of left field, that you quite feel strongly about how it would be something that would be really important for you, right? Okay, so how about all the people get together and design something else? Design something that suits your market, like what you are, like what you want. But it's not happening on here, right? You know, I made a conscious decision not to put a temperature sensor on. There is no room for a GPS, and I didn't want to make a watch that was so big I wouldn't want to wear it. And I could have also just decided not to release the files at all and say, this is all it is, and stuff everyone else. I'm going to release the files, and you're all in the electronics space. If you want to change it, make it better, change it, make it better. I'm not saying this is the best thing. Hey, Yaz. I'm just saying this is my vision of what I wanted to build for this version of this watch. That's it, right? And if me releasing it as open source isn't enough for you to leverage all my work to make it easier for you to add your own, then I don't know what else I can do. Like, really. There's an addition that I need for my project, and that's for me to... I can't read this because there's a... Okay, there we go. Something a bit more flexible. But why though? Like, it's defined, like, sorry, no, don't define flexible. Anyway. I agree, Steve. Like, I don't think anyone, like, I don't know, like, maybe maybe some people wear it, some people won't, you know. There are people that want to use this and set up, you know, for home assistant and to make it like a remote control that they wear on their wrist and whatever. Like, that is all so not a watch experience. That's a totally custom experience. So if people want to do that, they can. It's a development board with a screen and some peripherals. That's all it is, designed in a thing that could be worn on your wrist. That's all I've designed, right? To break it right down. And any expectation beyond that is, yeah. It's nice weather here at the moment too. Nice weather for lunch. Peter, it's not quite lunchtime. It's 8:25 in the morning. Okay. Sion is easily riled up today. I hope Jaffo's good. Yaz, hope you have a good morning. Hey Mark, yeah, I think you missed a bit. Yeah, like an hour and a half worth. Okay, so see, the problem now is when it goes into, I can't tell if it's off or it's in deep sleep. So now I have to, I gotta, like, if it's a black screen, I gotta touch the screen first to see if I can wake it first before I know it is or it isn't. Hey, Liam. It's always lunchtime somewhere. True. Very true. Thanks, Jay. It's not that you say challenging things, it's sometimes I don't understand where you're getting at or whatever. Like, or, yeah, that's all. But it's also hard for me to read all the chat. What? Oh, okay. Yes, that's funny. Thanks, guys. Thanks. Sorry, like I'm. Yeah. I feel like just sometimes there's an expectation that stuff that could be easily done by the community, if I put it out there for the community, the expectation is it should be done by me. And that's, you know, I'm time poor. Like I'm look how long it's taken me. Look how long it took me to ship Bling. Like, you know, and my tiny C6s are out as well. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's I really struggle to find time to get stuff done and to get stuff finished and pushed forward, as you can see. And I sweated on the details. Like, you know, the whole, like, getting this thing smooth and but optimized and, like, you know what I mean? Like, this was a challenge. Like, this was not 5 seconds worth of work. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is my third revision, and, you know, I could easily have developed this and left it as it was, where it chews your battery in 25 minutes. Right? It's like I mean, that alone, I see the value in that to be worth 1,000 times more than me adding functionality to do A, B, or C, right? Like, this is apart from that where I can touch it while it's moving bug, which I'll fix. I wonder if I can fix that now. We should look at doing that. Right. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I'd ever want to develop, coming from games, I don't think I'd ever want to develop a handheld gaming thing. No, that would just be hard work. I hope Yaz heals quickly as well, for her sake. As I was saying before, I would hate it if I was stuck in a moon boot 24/7. So what's happening is there are callbacks So at the base class of all the watch faces, right, there's a drag begin, drag, and drag end. Doesn't matter, you can't, the rest of the line's chopped off, right? And so it knows when it's starting to do a drag, it knows while it's dragging, and then at the end of a drag, right? And so at the end of a drag, when it's moving in place, you can technically touch the screen and start a new drag. Well, they're not callbacks. The methods are called. They're not set up as callbacks, right? They're not event-driven. None of this is event-driven, right? It's just, you know, in a loop. There's lots of commented out code, like serial debug stuff, whatever. It's just in a loop. Like if I'm touching the screen, see here, it sets the CPU frequency to 80, and then if it's the first touch, it does a whole bunch of stuff. It's just polling, like yeah, which is fine. If it's continuing to be touched, and this is deceiving, the finger num, it only supports one finger, unfortunately. It doesn't do multi-finger. Hey, John. Anyway, it just does that, and it just calls drag, right? So at the start, it calls drag begin on the current face. Here it's just calling drag, drag on the current face. And at the end, when it works out, am I going back into position or am I switching faces? Am I animating it in and how far it's going? Oh, fun. Yeah, that makes updating stuff during a move. Updating stuff? What do you mean? Updating the screens? Updating the screens was working fine. It just choose the processing power, right? If it's got to refresh what's on the screen while it's actually moving the screen, that's expensive and it's not necessary. I actually got rid of all that on purpose. That's how it was before. So in my previous streams, we saw that it looked much less fluid, like this, like a little stuttery, right? That was because I was updating the contents of the screen while it was moving, which was pointless, right? Anyway, luckily I've never seen a boom. And then at the end, yeah, so it calculates all that. So right now, while all this stuff's happening and it eases in, you can start a new touch. So I need to, I'm trying to think how I'm going to do a block on that. So the current screen, the current face that's being moved does know it's in a dragging. There is a field, a ball is dragging, but that's set on the one you start on. It's not set on the one that's also being dragged into place. So, maybe. Drag time. Where am I setting is dragging to false? So a lot of code cleanup that needs to happen. Shouldn't that be a global? No. No. It's specific to the face. Dragging happens. Yeah, no. Sorry, you it would be easy to think that that flag has to do with, am I dragging overall? No, it's to do, the face needs to know what's happening to it. It's not a global is dragging. I could do a separate global is dragging. Where am I? So what I could do is okay. No, because that's not how my code works. So, no, guys, that's not how my, yeah, 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 that's, yeah. I'm not expecting you to understand just by looking at me scrolling, whatever, what my code does, but no, that's not what that variable specifically is for, but that's okay. Except that is protected. No, because there are multiple screens that get dragged. Guys, it's how you think this is working isn't how it works. Yeah. what I want instead is a yeah, I'm gonna do this later. I think I don't know. How does this work in terms of the framework? How does what work? I'm not going to sit here and try to explain how the whole watch stuff works right now. A last star. So what panel? What display panel? What is its interface? It's a ST, was it 7789? And it's a one of these Cap Touch 280 by 240 displays. Yeah, I'm gonna have to think about how I'm gonna do this. Sure, it would, which again is going to completely delay anyone getting their hands on it. So, you know, I'm sure there are people that are going to opt to not get docks. So one of the things I need to do for the settings system is, I'm not changing the subject. So the code base is evolving right now, which is why I haven't bothered documenting anything or whatever. When the code base is settled, then yeah, I'll look at doing some basic stuff. Yeah, I'm not into the round screens. I much prefer the square screens, so that's why I've gone for that on this. So with the settings system, my plan is to set up functions for toggling. You'll understand where I'm getting at with this, to do with the dragging in a second. Is so something I do with Reflow Master Pro is when you I'll show you. Cable, anywhere, power. Okay, let me just show you this. So, so on the Reflow Master Pro, actually, can I do it? No, I can't do it under the camera. Right? If I go into the settings, oh God, it's gonna be back to front, right? So I go this menu. If I go to every one of these settings, including these menus that you can then go into, right, and back out of, these are all, these all have functions that you pass in that, so like, okay, so this one here, right, which is invert SSR on and off, right, on and off. That there, when I click on it, that menu item has a function that has like a get settings value, a set settings value, a function that sets what group that is, what it belongs to. Hey, Quindor, how you doing? So for instance, if I go to my auxiliary, right, you can see the fan and see aux1 type and aux1 test. If I turn off aux1, you see the test turns off. So each menu item knows which group it belongs in, whether it's enabled or not. So it's got a function that you pass that it can check if it's enabled or not, stuff like that, right? I want to add that to the settings system for all things like toggle buttons and stuff. So when you say this toggle is for the show me 24-hour mode or not for the clock, and when you click on it, it knows how to set itself, how to get the data and all that stuff, right? I'm going to add the same thing for the faces, where a face gets a method from the controller that it can then call back on the controller when it's finished, right? And the method can be passed between different faces. So if I click on this face right now, this is the current face, and I click on it, whoops, if I click on it and drag, it's currently drawing two different faces. There are two faces, but the one I clicked on is still the current one, and this current face is controlling that face because it's its neighbor. It knows that, so this face here knows that it's got a neighbor at the top, that when I pull down, the neighbor's got to come in. So it pulls down and it tells it to draw. So this face draws where my finger is, and then it tells that face to draw offset from that. And then when I let go, right, and the other one slides in, this slides in and then becomes the current face. Until it's in, it's not the current face. The previous one is a current face, right? So it can't tell the controller it's done until it's the current face. And when it's the current face, it's too late. So I need to be able to tell to this current face to pass. So when I click on this, right? So I'm looking at the 8040. When I click on this and I drag, it's still the current face. What I need, and so this has the callback, because if I let go of this here, so it goes back. It has to stay the current face. It's got to go back and it's got to tell the controller I'm done. But if it's going to switch, this needs to pass to the neighbor. This is the callback. And then when it's done and it gets told it's the current face, it'll then tell the controller I'm done. Might sound convoluted, but that's how it needs to work with this system. Yep. Current face. No, it's not handing over the current face. It's just handing over the callback. That's all. So the IMU screen doesn't get told it's a current face until it's finished moving into its spot. So in between that time, I could just make the animations faster and it probably won't even be a problem. Do they speak with each other? No, there's no state machine. Canvas that indexes the currently visible faces and their relative positions. No, there's two. This uses they're called sprites on this TFT ESPI. This is drawing two faces into two different canvases and then blitting them to the screen at whatever the delta position is based on my drag. Right? So right now it's cached, so it only writes them. So this here, it writes it as soon as I start moving the screen. See, it stops updating. So 50, 51, 52. As soon as I grab it and start moving it, it stops. It's cached that picture and it's in the canvas, right? And this one is drawn once and then it's cached and it's in the canvas. So right now, all I'm doing is blitting. It's not drawing into the canvas anymore on either of them. It's just blitting two canvases to the screen. All right? That's from a drawing perspective. But it doesn't know which one's going to be the current face until I let go, based on where I am, or based on what I've done. Right? So from a swipe, I can swipe. Sorry, hard to hold it. So I can do a swipe, right? Or I can just pull at a certain distance. If I'm over a threshold, it switches, right? But see, it's not really a swipe. Anyway, so there's a lot of movement from there to there that happens where I can touch the screen again and confuse it. So I go like this, hang on. See that? See what I did there? I touched the screen while it was doing that before it knew that it was the current face, so it pushed the previous current face to the top. You can't just pull down part way to check time. No. On purpose. Because it's you know, I would like it as a watch to last longer than 25 minutes on battery, right? So again, if people want to change the firmware to make it different, they can. But for me, the important thing is battery life and interactivity. Yeah. When the screen is moving, the changes go into write-only. What? Write-only memory? What's write-only memory? I don't know what you mean. Yeah, I spent a lot of time getting this responsive as it is. And the caching was a big step, but that was a complete rewrite to be able to do that. Yeah, that's the best example I can give. Is until the IMU the message screen is all is completely locked in place, right? It doesn't become the current screen, which means if I quickly attach the top, it's moved the current screen to the top and cached, and until I let go, it's not going to flip it back, even though the other screen now is the current one, but I'm holding the drag, right? As soon as I let go. So that's what I need to fix, because it's easy to do that if people are going quick. See that? I did it again, right? It's possible to touch before it's finished. Maybe I'll just make it faster. Maybe the best thing I can do right now is to just increase. Originalize. Make a sister battery band. Yeah, that's been discussed lots in my previous things. That's not possible. Can't do two batteries. Not with the charge IC. It's on here, and not with most charge ICs. So while the that's not viable. Not for this anyway. I mean, whatever you design for you, cool. But it's not really something that's possible. It's actually quite dangerous if you're trying to have two batteries connected. Two different cells that aren't the same size, that aren't balanced. You got a charging problem. But anyway, yeah. So while the face settling animation playing, the touch, call, interrupt, invoke can still happen. Right, but I don't want a atomic ball to. Right, the easiest way would be just a ball to block it, right? That sounds like it makes sense, but not really. What it's not in line with how the faces work and interact with each other. Right, just plug it into a USB battery bank and put the battery bank in your pocket with a long cable going under your clothes. So let's speed it up. Let's see if I can speed it up. Got them all over the place. That would be the quickest thing to do. Although so right now I'm just dividing by 2. It can work if you have very specific charge IC that can do more than a single cell battery that has a BMS in it for balancing. Otherwise, it's extremely dangerous to ask people to put something like that on their wrist. It's not about whether it can work or not, or will it work. It's a matter of, is it dangerous? And the big answer is yes. Super, super dangerous. unless the charging, the battery management stuff is designed specifically for it. No, sorry, okay, don't matter. Well, it's not like having a watch power bank unless it's connected to the 5-volt input and not treated as a battery. Like, you couldn't charge it through your watch if there's a battery in the watch. You need to have a BMS. Right, so you can't say, how do you charge the wrist? How do you charge the band? So it gets charged separately. So it's just a power source. Okay. Okay, sure. Yeah, that's not, I mean, that's not new. That's, yeah, no, it's been around for a while. But yeah, it's not something I'm looking at necessarily doing, because I'm not providing, I'm not selling this as, I'm not releasing this as a watch, right? Like, it's not coming with a band for me. If people want to do that, they can. If they want to find a way to do that, sure. That's right, as Ben says. Hey, Ben. So 6 batteries which aren't connected during operation. Yeah, that's a lot of effort though, Steve, to have to charge them that way. But yeah, you can do that too. So I'm basically, I'm halving it, and I'm halving it, and I'm halving it. So I mean, all I can really do is sorry, I'm thinking about batteries. At the end of the day, I can't move things sub-pixel. Understand sounds making a drilling platform and some. That's right, John. That's what I'm doing. And I'll keep evolving the firmware over time, or if people are contributing to whatever, it might turn into a really nice watch firmware, right? But it's not something that I'm specifically going to try to work out and finish myself. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna have to. Yeah, I'm gonna have to think about more on this. Like, honestly, catch you later, Photochromax. So, okay, so what's if I just make this ball? Okay. I really don't like the idea of just having a ball that does this, but actually, am I using this anymore? Right, I don't need that there anymore. Actually. Okay, okay, so it is dragging, it's false. I'll stick it in here. I didn't really want to do it this way. If not, is dragging. If is dragging. Oh. Yeah, I'm in Australia. I'm in Melbourne. Cool. Is dragon. Yeah. See, this shouldn't happen. Yeah. 18 days to Christmas. Of course that was going to fail. What's going to happen now? Dragging equal. What? Oh, whoops. Okay. Yeah, I don't like it there. Fine, whatever. I might be able to just use is touched, but that's also being used for other things. So, if I pull, okay. So that seems to but see now yeah, so the downside is I wonder if I right, so I also can't touch it until it's finished. So it feels, interestingly, it feels less responsive now because there's that extra. If I'm too quick, see that I can't get it now. Admittedly, like, you know, like if someone wants to go really quickly, like I feel like I can't go as fast now. So the only way to solve that is to shorten the time between the animation as well. But this is, I mean, this is fine. Like, do people really need to be swiping like this? Yeah, it doesn't feel as responsive now. There's not blocked, not black backgrounds. Also draw more power. They're not back like that. The purple. No, because it's got to be black. Whether I'm drawing black or whether I'm drawing purple, it's still having to blit something to the buffer, to the canvas. So no, it's not drawing more power. It's the same. Swipes from one side of the screen so it can't get touched wrong. Won't accept swipes from. Yeah, what? Yeah, what it does. Sorry, what? What do you mean, yeah, it does? What, draw more power to draw purple instead of black on the screen? I don't think so. And the things that draw power on this thing is not writing to the screen. It's the backlight, it's the processor. Like, can you change the behavior of the block so when the screen is close, the dragging block can be lifted? Well, it doesn't know it's close. That's the point. That's why the screen, that's why the face needs to control it, and the face needs to tell the controller when it's good to go, which is what I wanted to implement, rather than doing it this generic bool. This generic bool can't be called early, because it's going to be called early by who? It doesn't know when a face is finished. It knows that when a face is finished when all that is finished, which is at the end. Only a face knows where it's at. Touch near the edge. Have it check foot touch near the edge and on touch jump to the next face. No, I don't like that. Sorry. So if I just click there, it goes up. Yeah, no. No. And also, clicking is a button. There's a single click, there's a double click, and there's a long click, which I've got the sound turned off. So you can click anywhere on the screen, you know. And what happens in the case of this, where we're scrolling, when you want to scroll this list, you're down here and you want to scroll it back up again. I don't want it changing. I don't like how this face stuff works. Faces should have no control. What? What do you mean the face should... I don't understand. Okay, whatever. Swiping only accept holding it from the incoming faces. When swiping, only accept holding it from the incoming face. If swiping down, accept touches holding. Ignore the ball. I don't understand. That's not how any of this works, so I don't know what you mean by that. I don't know what... The incoming face is unknown until it gets to the end and it's told it's the current face. That's what I was saying before, passing it along. Okay, anyway, right, to do any of the things you're suggesting, it has to be the way I said before, not with a bool. But anyway, that's why I said it. Doing it with a bool, it's just a bool that has to be set at the very start and has to be cleared at the very end, and there's no other way to control that bool. Like, and when you say faces have no control, they don't have control. What do you mean? The controller is telling the face, is giving the face the drag data. The face is just drawing itself where it needs to draw itself. And then it's telling its neighbor, I'll call it neighbor, whatever, to draw itself as well. Like, I don't understand. Like,
Alan Madsen says relationship between husband and wife is psychological.
So true, Alan, so true.
Alan Madsen says one is psycho.
That's what it does, Chris. That's what that bool is doing. But the bool doesn't get cleared until the whole process is finished. There's no early clearing of it if it's happening on the controller.
Alan Madsen says the other is logical.
Okay.
Alan Madsen says please don't try and figure out who is who.
Hey, Chris. Okay. Yeah, anyway. A lot more work to be done before this code is coming out. I need to solve this setting stuff first. Been going for over 2 hours. Yeah. Yeah.
John Clayton says it's like an unfolded box with faces connected to each other.
Yeah, I saw your comment there before, John. It's, well, sure, that's how the navigation system works. That's how you connect it all up. You create a face and you create a face called settings, and then I set the navigation on its left to be the boot screen. Oh, can't see that. Whoops. I create a face called boot. I create a face called settings, and then I say on settings, set the navigation on the left to be the face boot. That's it. That's how you make 2 screens and hook them up. And then that instantly gives you, on the settings screen, the boot screen. I could make this much harder and much more verbose to make it controllable from the controller, whatever, but that's, yeah. Catch you later, Jishipu. Thanks for joining. How do I don't know what a transient application is. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, this automatically, when this gets set, this automatically sets face boot to be face settings on the right. So you don't have to set up both.
John Clayton says, I think the current state is more like you were wanting it to do last stream.
Correct, it is. Yeah, it was. You missed the start of the stream, John. It was a complete rewrite under the hood. Something that isn't always active.
Alan Madsen says, can you try to make a 3-ed screen to swap from the side?
A what? Sorry. And you don't have to use say, Alan. Sorry, just type it. Oh, third. What? Like a. What do I need a third screen for? What do you mean? There's only ever 2 screens on at once. There's only ever 2 faces being shown at once, not 3. Right? So why do I need 3? I need to fix that as well. I need to fix that. Sure, you could change it at runtime. 3D boxes like you need. Like rotate in thread. Can it? I don't know. If you want to write it, sure. I mean, you can on the fly, if you want to code it, change the navigation on the fly. I mean, you have to do it in the firmware. I still don't know what you mean by something that isn't always active. A face that isn't on the screen is not active. So is that what do you mean specifically? faces get loaded and unloaded like an image. But what do you mean by loaded and unloaded? It's not, if it's not being shown, it's not being drawn. So what are you trying to achieve? Like, open a message that has an image, click on the image to see it and scroll, then close it. So you're talking about functionality inside a screen. I mean, so this can do anything you want if the firmware is written to do that. Like, I'm not sure what, can it do that right now? Of course not, because I haven't got a thing where you can put an image in a message that you can click on that opens up the image, that you can click on the image, you know what I mean? Haven't written any of that stuff. Like, once again, this is a... what you see is what this is. Like, asking me, can it do blah, blah, blah. If I haven't shown it, I can't do it. Like, you know what I mean? I don't understand. I mean, the face controller, can it insert, remove faces between existing navigation? If you code it to do that, sure. They're just a pointer. It's just a reference to a face. I could program it to change face settings to not have face boot, but have something else down the line. If I click on a button, sure. You have to code the firmware to do that. Like this. So this is not an operating system. It's not Apple Watch. It's not, here's an Apple Watch that you can do all these crazy things with a full, you know, under the hood OS. This is some firmware that's running on the watch. So it'll only do whatever the firmware can do. Like why, like if you need it to be able to insert something in the middle based on a button click, well, you'll have to add that. Like, it's not an operating system. I don't understand. It was taking care of updating the neighbors. What do you mean by updating the neighbors? Right now, the neighbors are set up at the start. The whole navigation is set up in a create faces at the start. And that's it. That's static. If you want that to change, you have to program it to change. Like, it has no need to change any of those things right now, because why would you need to? But if you have a particular use case, you'd have to actually program that into the firmware. Like, why would that be something that it can do right now, and how would it do it, and for what purpose? Out of all the things you've seen me showing you on here, you know what I mean? It can be updated if the code updates it. Do I have a button on here that randomizes all the neighbors? No. Could I add one? Sure. Once again, like, there's this disconnect between your expectation or your want of what my code does compared to what my code is for. Like, can this stream music from the internet and play it on the screen and show sheet music while it's doing it? Well, I guess if I write that, it could do it. But can it do it? No. Like, I mean, the faces setup is done at static process at boot. Well, how could it be done dynamically? Dynamically based on what? How would it know how to build itself dynamically? How would the user do that? What? So, but it's static firmware. That's not a paradigm. It's a static firmware. How would it do that? How would it know how to build it from a list? Like having a list of faces, how would it know how to build it? How would it know which one is on its right, which one is on its left, which one was up or down, which one was to which one, which was to which one? Like, you could come up with some type of crazy 3-dimensional spreadsheet, 2-dimensional spreadsheet. You know what I mean? Like, again, but how is a linked list logic any better or different? Like, it's still static. That list is static when it's compiled, or when it's run, sorry. When it's run, it generates the connections from that list, which is the same as generating the connections in the code. It's identical. It's just a different set of data, right? Like that's, again, I don't understand. Yeah, okay, I gotta stop saying I don't understand. I don't get the. Okay, I'm gonna go. Look, I just showed you how it works, like how you connect them, and you're asking me if it does it a different way. No, it does it like this. Static as in fixed, as in it's not static as in a static variable, a global variable. Static as in it's fixed. Something that's static doesn't move. Yeah, static is the correct word. It might also mean something else in programming, but static is the correct word. It's fixed, it's static. It doesn't change unless your code changes it. There's no operating system in here that lets me go into a screen. Oh my God. Right? I can't go into a screen and I can move these around, the faces around, far out. Doesn't like me doing that. You know, and then I can click on this and I can look and I can drag them. Yeah? Yeah, no. It's not Apple Watch. It's not an operating system. I can't do it through a user interface, and it's not machine learning or AI where it can kind of, you know, do a best fit by itself. It's static. Like whatever you set up, that's how it is for the duration of you using the software, unless you program it to change it on the fly based on user interaction or whatever you want. You understand? Like it's static. and whether it comes from a linked list or a spreadsheet or a JSON file or whether it's via code, it's exactly the same. The result is exactly the same. Right? Whatever it loads in from a file or whatever it loads in code as it's run stays that way for the duration, unless you program it to change it. So there's no difference. So adding it in a linked list or whatever else would be pointless. Like that would just be a preference on the data container for it, right? Okay, I think I'm gonna wrap this up. Yeah, there's no screen for Doom, unfortunately, at the moment. Sorry. Someone else can add Doom. I'm not in Doom. Linked lists would have to be a 2-dimensional, or it'd have to be, yeah, I don't know. I don't necessarily agree that they're easy to change. Anyway, whatever. Doesn't matter. This is how I've coded it. This is how it's going to be. This is not going to be changing. Hey, dare I the ghetto? Oh, Christian. Well done, mate. Join at the end. Yay. Yay. Okay. Maybe I just won't release the watch or the firmware. It's I'll keep it for myself. I'll just keep hacking away myself and just make the one watch, and it'll just be mine with my firmware. Yeah. And I can just argue with myself about how the code should be written and what functionality it should have. Cool. Well, I look forward to seeing your open source code when you do it, Chris. And yeah, maybe I'll learn from your coding. Yeah, but I'm releasing mine, how mine looks, how it works. And if people don't like it, well, you know, yeah, something to do with eggs and sucking, I think. Cheers, DIY. That wasn't a dig about people buying them or not buying them. It's just like I'm not going to be able to please everyone on this, and it's like no matter what I write on the product page, no matter what I say in the hardware and in the source code, I can write 1,000 lines of this is as it is by design intentionally. If you want it to do something different, feel free to modify the code or whatever. No matter how much I do that, I'm still going to get pushback by people. And it's just frustrating. Like, yeah. So, yeah. When's your surgery booked, Chris? Have you got it scheduled in? I could get to the 10th version, it still won't be perfect for everyone. It's fine. That's okay. Yeah, I know, Chris. Is your back, are they going to be able to fix your back or not? No, I didn't get hot. That's didn't raise my temperature. That's fine. If I get really hungry, I could get angry and fry an egg on my head. What do you reckon? Yeah, I want to release it, but I'm worried isn't the right word. It doesn't worry me, but I'm concerned. My expectation is that people are just going to not understand what it is that they're getting on board with, right? Oh, so it's close, end of Jan. Okay, I mean, not close enough, I guess. Okay. And what's the recovery like on the first op? Can it play Doom? No, because you haven't programmed there yet, Christian. Has anyone done a touch version of Doom for the ESP32? This would need a touch version because there's no buttons. Yeah. Oh, someone's ported Doom for ESP32, but it's from the versions I've seen online, they require buttons. You'd need to implement touch. Or, yeah, controller support. Shit, Chris, that's not good. Well, in case I don't see you in the chat going forward, good luck for the op. I hope your recovery is quick. I hope you get great results at the end and you can start being a bit more pain-free. That'd be great. Quite like Doom bar. Oh, that was on the touch bar? Was that on the touch bar on the Mac? I can work on getting a nerve surgery scheduled. That's good news, Chris. I wish you luck and speedy recovery. No, Doom Bar is a beer. Oh, okay. Didn't someone get, you know, the touch bar, which Apple don't do anymore on their MacBook Pros? Didn't someone get Doom running on that? The visuals, at least? I thought they did. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. Anyway. Okay, I'm going. I have to decide if I'm going to make some watches, some PCBs now, and put them in my store, or if I'm going to wait. I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to release everything. I'm going to release KiCad project. I'm going to release... It might not be in a state that everyone wants. I'm going to release it open source. People, you know, if people aren't going to like my schematic layout, am I going to release a bomb? Probably not. Not like people want. Like, you know, you can load up the project in KiCad and you can say export a bomb, right? People are going to expect a bomb with supplier part numbers, with links to where to get all the parts. No, I'm not doing that. Why? Not because I don't want to, just because someone else can do that. Like putting stuff out to the community. I'm not putting it out to the community for everyone to... Don't take this the wrong way. I'm not putting it to the community for everyone to leech from and not contribute back. There's an opportunity for people to contribute back. If someone wants to put together a nice bomb, they can. Yeah, it's a bomb. Bomb. Not bomb, bomb. But the B's silent in bomb, but still a bomb. Anyway, you know what I mean? So, like, if I put this out there, my expectation is that people, instead of asking, why isn't blah, blah, blah there, they can contribute it themselves. Yeah? And if that's unrealistic of me, well, why else would I possibly put it out? You know what I mean? So, yeah. Yeah, that wasn't directed directly at you. Does my bomb look big in this? That is funny. That is funny. Yeah. So I'm still reading. Speaking of o'clock. Yeah. I showed it at the start. The Bling time, the talking clock. I should end on the Bling talking clock. Should we end on the Bling talking clock? We should. Let's end on the Bling talking clock.
Bling. 9:30 a.m.
Okay, it's 9:30 a.m. Time for Sion to get to work. Okay, thanks everyone. I'll catch you all later. Have a good week. Hopefully see you all next week. How do I stop this thing? It's been a while. Oh, there it is. Okay. Happy with nothing more than a 3D. You see, a 3D model for the case? I don't know. I don't have a case yet, so that'll happen very late, if at all. I'm actually hoping someone else will just design the case. So, yeah. Okay, the end button. Bye.